Hey, what's up everybody? Miguel Quiles here, and in this episode of The Breakdown, this is the 1-year anniversary of The Breakdown here on Adorama TV, and the very first video that I did for Adorama was a beauty photography episode. And so I decided that I wanted to revisit the beauty photography category and show you guys another really awesome way to shoot beauty photography in the studio. Welcome back to The Breakdown. I'm Miguel Quiles, and once again, I'm here in the studio with my model, Noelle, and we're gonna take some beauty shots. And we actually did a video way back in the day, a year ago, on beauty photography, so if you haven't looked at that video, definitely go check that one out. But I'm gonna show you another method, another way of taking some really awesome beauty shots in the studio. And again, this is gonna be using one light, just like we did in that first video, but we're gonna do it with a different modifier. And so I'm gonna show you guys back here. I have the Profoto D1. This is the 1000 watt studio strobe. And this particular light, the reason why I'm using it is that I'm actually gonna shoot these beauty shots at f/16. And so for a lot of people, they don't understand why would you shoot this at f/16. And the main reason is that I want to be able to capture a lot of texture in the image, because beauty photography is about the makeup, it's about the face, and obviously it's about beauty, or else they wouldn't call it that. But it's really important to capture the texture and the detail and the sharpness in a person's skin. And there's a lot of ways to do that. And one of the ways is to actually shoot at a higher f-stop. So shooting at like f/14, maybe even as high as f/20, to be able to maximize the depth of field so that the tip of her nose all the way to the back of her head is fully sharp, fully in focus. So we're gonna shoot these at f/16. And in order to do that, you need a studio strobe that gives you a lot of power and gives you a lot of kick. If you have a strobe that's in the 500 to 600 watts of power, you might be able to get to f/16, but the challenge is gonna be that you have to have your power on your strobe all the way up. And so that is going to limit the amount of pops that you're going to be able to get within a certain period of time. So for example, the refresh rate on a 500 or 600 watt studio strobe, you'll be waiting for maybe a few seconds for the light to recharge to give you another pop. With a 1000 watt studio strobe, you could sit there and not shoot at full power, still be able to shoot at f/16, and basically make your life super, super easy. So that's why we're using the Profoto D1, the 1000 watt head. I have a silver bounce umbrella behind. That's gonna be the only modifier, the only light shaping tool that we're gonna use. I chose the silver umbrella because I wanted it to be very specular and very reflective. They have these umbrellas with white. If you would have used that, it would have had a little bit less specularity in the highlights, meaning that the highlights on her face would not be as bright and shiny. And for makeup, I really want to capture a lot of sharpness and detail, and the silver on the inside of the umbrella really, really helps with that. The last thing that we're going to do is I have a small silver reflector right below. This is made by Rogue, and I'll put the link in the description for this particular product. And this is basically just going to go ahead and give her a nice little catch light on the bottom of her eyes, just to kind of bring a little bit of attention and drama to her eyes. So that's it. That's our entire setup, and I'll go ahead and I'll show you the rest of the gear that I'm using to take these shots. All right, so as you can see, she's standing very, very close to the reflector, and part of the reason that I'm doing that is that I really want this reflector here to basically fill in a lot of the shadows underneath the jawline, and also to be able to provide the catch light on the lower part of her eye. So if this was a little bit lower, you wouldn't actually see the reflection or the catch light in the lower part of her eye. So I raised it up high enough to where I can start to see that. For the background, you can use any black background to replicate this type of shot. I use the collapsible backdrops from Savage. And again, you've seen them in all of my videos. I love using them. This particular one is black on one side, white on the other. For a lot of people that are getting started in studio photography, they'll ask me what kind of backdrops do I recommend. And I love these backdrops from Savage because I use them all the time. They're super versatile. Black on one side, white on the other. The white side, if you bring the model away from the background will actually serve as a gray backdrop. So it's super versatile. You can basically get white, black, and gray out of one backdrop, which gives you a lot of value. So that's what we're looking at right now for the background and for the reflector from below. And so with that being said, let's talk about the camera and the lens and the rest of the stuff that I'll be using. All right, so for this shoot, I'm going to be using the Sony a7 II, which again is a full frame mirrorless camera. I have it paired with the Sony 90mm 2.8 G series lens. This is a macro lens, and for beauty photography, again, with texture and detail being the thing that you're really looking to capture in a close-up beauty portrait, the macro lens allows you to do a couple of different things. First, it's extremely sharp, so you're going to be able to capture the texture and detail of the makeup and the skin and everything else in the shot. The other added benefit to using a macro is the minimum focus distance for the lens. I can actually get very close to her face to capture all of that texture and detail and still get the lens to focus correctly. If I was using a 85mm lens, for example, to shoot this, it would still look very good, but it would not be as sharp, number one. And number two, I couldn't compose the shot the exact same way because the minimum focus distance is usually a little bit different to where I actually have to back away from the subject to be able to photograph them. So that's why I have these two things paired up. The other thing that I'm using that is super essential is the battery grip for these cameras, which basically allows me to be able to hold the camera comfortably to take these portraits in a beauty orientation. They hold 2 batteries inside of them, and they are super, super useful for shooting portraits with the Sony mirrorless cameras. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the tethered setup so you can get an idea of what I'm using there. Okay, so let's talk about the tethered setup here. I am actually tethering using the new Surface Book. This is the Surface Book from Microsoft with the performance base. And I really like this particular tablet because when I'm shooting on the go, I can actually retouch on this tablet using the pen that is included. So it's pretty awesome. If I'm out on the go and I want to do a quick retouch, I'm actually able to do that because the pen is included with this particular tablet slash computer slash just awesome machine. For the tethering cable, I'm using a Tether Tools orange USB cable. And part of the reason why I chose the orange one, because for the longest time I had a black Tether Tools cable. And what I started to notice is that it kind of blends in with other stuff that's on the floor. And models and makeup artists and everybody else that's on set, they can see when there's a orange cable kind of running across the studio. So decided to use the orange one. I get a lot less people tripping on it and kicking it and all that good stuff. So Tether Tools cable, Microsoft Surface, and I'm actually tethering using Capture One. This is Capture One Pro 9, which is actually the older version. They have since updated to version 10, but fantastic software, very easy. You basically just plug in the USB cable, plug it into your camera, and turn on your camera, and it's ready to go. So that's our setup for our camera, our tethering, and let's go ahead and start shooting. All right, so let's talk about the settings that I'm using here. As I mentioned before, I want to shoot these at a high f-stop, so I'm actually shooting this at f16, 1/160th of a second, ISO 100. And with those particular settings, without the strobe being on, it's overpowering the ambient light that's in the room, so that way this light is not actually affecting the shot. The only thing that's affecting the shot is this Profoto D1 head that I have here next to me. I'm actually triggering these using the Phottix Airs triggers. These are basic triggers that work with any brand, any camera, any strobe. They plug in with a little cable. So Profoto actually makes a trigger that actually works with this wirelessly, which is pretty nice. But I wanted to show you guys that you can actually use whatever triggers that you wanted to use with whatever lights it is that you have, and you can make this work. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's keep shooting. Very nice. Hold that. Excellent. All right. Perfect. Nice. So as I'm shooting this, I had mentioned earlier that the minimum focus distance was something that was a big advantage for using this particular lens. And if this was an 85mm lens or a standard portrait lens, I wouldn't be able to stand this close to be able to fill the frame with just her face. I would have to stand quite a bit farther away. The lighting setup would be different. The quality of light would be different. So that's part of the benefit of using a macro for shots like this. I could actually even kind of reach over this way and I could get really close and still be able to focus and still get shots that are razor sharp and detailed and in focus, which is pretty awesome. Let's keep shooting a few close-ups like this. Very nice. Perfect. And one of the questions that I got when I did the first beauty video, people were asking about blocking the light. And I think this is kind of a big misconception with people when it comes to off-camera flash, that if you're standing in front of the light, you're blocking the light somehow and it's not getting to the model. Obviously, you can see that it is lighting the model even though I'm standing here. But because of the size of this modifier in relation to myself, the light actually wraps around me and still illuminates the model. It's not casting any type of shadow on her because I'm so small in comparison to the size of this huge, huge modifier behind me. So don't worry about having a shadow being cast on your subject. So long as the size of your modifier is much bigger and larger than you are, you're good to go. All right, folks, so there you have it. Very, very easy one light setup for you to be able to take beauty shots in the studio. And one of the things that I didn't mention is the importance of having a makeup artist on set for doing these types of shots. Without the makeup artist, it would be very difficult to take these types of shots. So fortunately, I have a really awesome makeup artist. I have Sam here. And so where can they find you on Instagram to follow your work?
SamanthaPage_BNB.
Samantha Page _BNB, and it's Page P-A-I-G-E. So I'll make sure I put that in the description as well. Noelle, how can they find you?
I'm on Instagram, Noelle1L1224. That's it.
That's it? Just one L? That's
Just
it?
one L.
Okay, cool.
Noelle1224.
Super nice and easy.
Yes.
You can find me on Instagram as well, at Miguel Quiles Jr. Make sure you follow everybody here. We post a lot of different work online as well. But anyway, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to Adorama TV while you're here. It's been 1 year of the breakdown, and I'm really excited to put out some new videos for you guys with a lot of new information, new tutorials. We're gonna do video stuff. We're gonna just go all over the place with these new tutorials. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure that you go to the Adorama Learning Center as well. There's a lot of articles and a lot of great videos there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching the breakdown. Thank you for all of the support. It's been 1 year. I'm looking forward to many, many more. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody.